Alright, you guys, welcome back to Baseline Broadcast. And of course, for anyone who's new, my name is Caroline Anderson. I run this whole channel. I love tennis, and I decided to make a YouTube channel about it. Alright, guys, take a look at the topics for today. Pretty straightforward. You can tell what this video is about. And yeah, let's get started. Alright, first topic. We gotta talk about Roland Garros Final. And it's pretty exciting for one person, kind of exciting for another person at first, and then there was a little bit of a gap. So first off, these two incredible players had a great 2 weeks at Roland Garros. Obviously they made the final. They should be incredibly proud of themselves. Both of them were looking for their first Grand Slam. That hasn't happened in quite a while. So congrats to both of them on that. Now, in the first set, it was pretty tight. Walenska was battling, Andreeva was battling. The percentages were not as high as they probably could have been, but that's because they were both fighting for it. Walenska went up 3-2 in the first set, and then Andreeva would end up winning 9 games in a row. And yeah, that does carry into the second set. So she won the first set, and then with 4 games, making it 6-3, and then went up 5-love in the second before getting broken and falling to a service game, or Maya's service game. So, but then she ended up breaking back, and that would give her her first Roland Garros title. And that was really special for her. There's been a lot of heartbreak at Roland Garros for her. There's been difficulties with adjusting to conditions. There's been a lot of difficulties with emotions. There's been a lot of, this, that, and the other. And she overcame it. And she is now a Grand Slam champion. I would watch out for Walenska, though. She's not one to be messed with. And she, as a result of her making the final, jumped up 93 spots in the rankings. Mira went from number 8, I believe, to number 2, or not number 2, number 6. So that gave her two extra spots. But Maya went from 114 to 21. So that's an impressive move. Keep your eye out for her as the season progresses and gets tighter. Alright, next topic. Alright, so with Roland Garros wrapped up, that means that we're saying goodbye to the clay court season and moving on to the grass. Personally, the grass is my favorite surface. I wait at least half the year, every single year for it. And it contains my favorite tournament, fun fact, which is Wimbledon. And Wimbledon will be in just a couple of weeks. So there's a lot of warm-up tournaments going on right now. There's a tournament in the Queen's Club in London. And then Berlin is going to be played here next week. Now, if you aren't familiar with this channel, I typically do 1,000 and Grand Slam tournaments. However, there are no 1,000 tournaments between now and Wimbledon. So how in the world are these players going to get acclimated to the grass after being on hard courts and on clay for quite some time? Well, they've got to play, 500 tournaments, like Queen's Club and Berlin. Berlin's the bigger of the two tournaments, so you're going to see a lot of top players, and I'm going to give you those top players here in just a moment. You'll see what I mean. But yeah, so let's preview Berlin. Alright, so here are your players that I think you should watch in Berlin. They used to be the top 4 players, but after Goff lost in the French Open earlier earlier in May, either May or June, one of the two. She lost in the French Open early, and she dropped down to world number 7 because of that loss. So she's going to be looking to rebound from that loss and potentially do well at Wimbledon, which is a tournament that she really struggles at. So she's going to be doing her best to do well at that tournament. So keep your eye on Goff there. Also keep your eye on Sabalenka, Rybakina, and Swiatek. Rybakina is a Wimbledon champion. She won back in 2022, and she's a great grass court player when she doesn't stand in her own way. And she's great on any surface when she doesn't stand on her own way, but she is especially suited for grass, as I gave her her first Grand Slam back in 2022. So look for Rybakina to do well in Berlin and work really hard to try and get that Wimbledon title. Sabalenka has never won Wimbledon, so she is going to, be training really hard to try to get that Wimbledon trophy as well. She wants it probably more than anyone else. And she had some heartbreak last year at Wimbledon with her loss to Anisimova, so she is going to be putting in the hard work on grass. So watch her at Berlin, trying to get really good training for Wimbledon coming up. And then last but not least, Swiatek. Iga Swiatek has not made the final of a tournament this season, and it was like that for her last year. But then she ended up making the final of Bad Homburg, which is another tournament in Germany, and then also she made the final and won Wimbledon. She is going to be looking to bounce back and win the Wimbledon title again. She will be training really hard for that. With a Wimbledon win, she could be world number 2 again, so Elena Rybakina does need to watch out for that. But yes, Iga will be looking to defend that title at Wimbledon, and of course, get all these prep tournaments as well as she possibly can. And so these are the 4 I think you should watch. People are like, well, you just talked about Andreeva. Where's Andreeva? Well, she pulled out. There's a bunch of players that made the second week of the French Open that are not going to play in Berlin, and I think that is smart because it is a pretty quick turnaround from clay to grass, and it can really affect you if you don't give yourself enough time to prep. So I think Andreeva and other players who are pulling out are making a great decision, and I think that's it for today's video. I know it's kind of a quick one compared to what I've been doing before, but all I had to do today was talk about these 2 tournaments. Next week, it's a little funny because Berlin is set up weirdly, but what I'm thinking about doing is doing a quarterfinal. Like, they're gonna have a quarterfinal, I think, on the Thursday, and or on Friday, excuse me. And then after that, I'll get you guys a video, talk about the semifinal preview, and then maybe try to predict the finals. And then the final will be on Sunday, and then the next Friday we'll talk about it. So that's the next couple videos that are on the horizon. We're also going to preview Wimbledon after talking about Berlin, so just keep your eyes open for that, and happy grass season. Have a great day, guys.